Good morning. How you guys doing? This is Johnny B back live with you. It's a beautiful day. Oh my goodness. Let's just take off work and play in the garden. You want to? Well, I guess we can't. Well, maybe you can. You should if you can. Take off today and enjoy the beautiful weather. Today, I've been reading a book by 3 doctors. They're cancer doctors, oncologists, but they also believe with all their heart that you treat the body with nutrients at the same time that you're treating the body with chemotherapy and radiation and surgery. And a very interesting read. I'm just starting into it. But one statement that I got last night just really stuck with me. And as I was reflecting this morning, I decided this is what I was going to talk on. It's called, Hi Nikki, my cousin Nikki. How you doing? Love you, girl. Love your mama, too. Anyway, inflammation. Inflammation is really a bad thing to have in our bodies. And these 3 doctors say that inflammation, having an inflamed body, can really cause you to be more susceptible to get cancer and to keep cancer. And when you get rid of cancer, these 3 doctors believe that there are things you can do to change your lifestyle and your diet and your mental thinking to keep cancer at bay. And so it's a really interesting read. I figured I'd read it and figure out how I can keep from getting cancer. And if I learn something really cool, which I'm sure I will, I'm going to pass it on to you guys because I truly believe that we are fearfully and wonderfully made and knit together by God in our mother's womb. And I think He's the great physician and can heal us and has given us everything we need here on earth to do that. And you know I'm passionate about that. I talk about it all the time. So anyway, inflammation. There are several things that causes inflammation. I just want to run through a couple. The foods we eat. I want to run through some inflammatory foods that you can start cutting out of your diet. Sugar, fructose. Fructose is an inflammatory food. Dairy, I love dairy. So this was kind of sad for me because I like cheese and I make kefir. And I think the key to dairy is to just limit the amount of dairy you have because it is an inflammatory food. Gluten is an inflammatory food. And I'm not suggesting that we just cut out all breads, although my wife and I have cut out all grains in our low glycemic diet. And man, it has made a huge difference in our body, losing weight and reducing inflammation and just feeling more energy and less achy. So I think there's really evidence that the gluten, especially the gluten from the grains that we grow these days, from the current methods, can have a big effect on your body. So gluten is another inflammatory food. Peanuts, darn it, I love peanuts. I love those salty peanuts you get at the ball game, but they are inflammatory. And of course, here's the big one, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit deeper, but MSG, which I always thought MSG was a man-made compound, but it's really a naturally occurring compound. But MSG, here's a little known fact that I learned the other day. Manufacturers of spices can have up to 70% MSG in their spices before they have to put it on the label that their spice contains MSG. Oh my gosh, 70% of MSG, and we know MSG is not good for us. It's very inflammatory, and there's been some studies with MSG effects on autism and stuff like that. But hey, you guys are smart. You can study some of this yourself. MSG is not good, and that's why when we eat out at a restaurant, MSG tastes good. That's the bottom line. And if the chefs that are cooking our food, if the spice makers don't have to tell us MSG is in their spice mix, unless it's more than 70% of the mix, then our chefs are possibly using MSG in our food that we eat in the restaurants. And so you can see how this is really it can be very tricky. Okay, so Other causes of inflammation are stress and your environment, the toxins that we are all exposed to. There's a lot of emphasis now on plastics, how everything is plastic, and we're getting chemicals from plastics, and they're going into our bodies. And of course, you have pharmaceuticals that are meant to help one thing but can harm another. So we have all these things that we put in our body, that we put on our skin, that are inflammatory. So, as these three doctors suggest, when you have an area in your body that is really super inflamed, your immune system is really diminished, and that's where the cancer cells can get in there, or viruses or bacteria can get in there and really proliferate and cause a tumor. And so the key to health in their minds, and I tend to agree, is that to lower inflammation. Okay, now let's turn it around as far as our hearts and our personal being. We can take this a little step further and take a look at our hearts. And sometimes we know there's a mind and body connection. And so when your mind is inflamed, and when your heart is inflamed, and your inner being is not at rest and not at peace, this can also set up inflammation in your body. And so here are just a few things that causes inflammation of our minds and hearts and souls. It would be hate, jealousy, stress, bitterness, and resentment. So I think those things they're hard to deal with, but we need to work on those things in our heart to help balance our body. So those are my thoughts this morning. Hey, I hope you have a great day and don't be inflamed. And you take care of yourselves. If you have a comment, you just hit me up on a comment or a PM. And as always, you need to dream big, work hard, love large, eat good food and take your vitamins, and be your best self now. Take care. See ya.